Brought to you by...
Throughout the landscape of short horror filmmaking, there has always been a fascination with creating these little terror tales about strange and otherworldly entities, spirits or ghouls that exist within the fringes of the known world, that our average Joe protagonists eventually encounter. If I'm honest, seeing this base concept utilized again and again can get utterly tiresome. However, I keep digging through them, hoping to find those few that take this beaten down idea and do something unique with it. Hello friends, and welcome back for some more bite-sized reviews. Today we kick things off by peeling back the decor with a young girl who discovers strange photographs that alter the world around her. The visual style of the cinematography and the framing of some of the shots in this one are fairly bland and could have honestly used a more delicate touch. In a narrative that centers so heavily on the idea of a picture frame, I felt myself wanting so much more creativity when it came to the framing of the cinematography. I feel like you could have done a lot more unique things with it, if given the chance. Another thing that throws this one off for me is our protagonist's performance. When the images in the photographs begin to manifest in real life, this girl is not disturbed by this happening in the slightest. How could you not be? I know that if something I was looking at in a photograph suddenly appeared before me, I would be making a nice steaming dumper right here in my little pants. The performance delivered by this girl is utterly bland and emotionless for the most part. I felt like she didn't have anything to bring to this character at all. Despite this, the concept here is strong and unique. The visual presentation is solid, though a little flat for my taste. However, the lighting, music, and sound design all work in this film's favor. The creepy entity was well conceptualized, with its wide, eerie grin, and it being kept in the shadows or lost in the depth of field, all helped to solidify its creepiness. If they had shown much more than they chose to, it probably would have ruined the overall aesthetic of the piece. I did enjoy the way the film was structured. At one point, it started to seem like it was moving toward the idea that the narrative may shift toward a more upbeat outcome, but then ultimately ends in the character's downfall. It was honestly a pretty nice misdirect. I gotta give Behind the Frame a C+. Not the greatest short that I've ever seen, but nowhere near the worst. It does beat a dead horse a little bit by just delivering another creepy entity short that builds to a scare. These types of things are a dime a dozen now because they are cheap and easy to achieve, much like our next one. In this one, a young girl picked the wrong time to do her laundry, as she finds herself haunted by a mysterious entity that lurks in her building's laundry room. The visual presentation of this one is strongly captured in beautiful cinematography and a gorgeous color grade. The gentle blend of warm and soft tones highlight the atmosphere of the piece well. The lighting and sound design are spot on, coming together to create a building atmosphere of dread. Much of the narrative is played in either close-up or medium shots, maximizing the limited space that the filmmakers are clearly working in. The floating and rocking camera style adds an element of otherworldly terror to a piece that leaves you haunted in its final moments. The protagonist is played well, without use of dialogue, and conveys her fear strongly against the threat of this spirit that is pursuing her. As with many of these shorts, we wisely never get to see more than the feet of this entity, which I did feel kept its horrific nature strong, building a mystery about it, and making us wonder what it looked like as it towered over our protagonist and chased her through the winding loop of halls. There isn't much to say about this one overall, other than that it delivers on its scare elements, but comes up short when it comes to bringing a unique narrative to the table. I'm gonna give No Laundry After 10 a.m. a B-. Now, our last film today is a bit of a popular choice. This multi-award winning short film introduces us to Franco, whose ex-girlfriend has been deceased for some time. Franco still has her as a contact on social media. When he decides to delete her and move on, something strange starts to manifest through his computer. Much like the other two entries into this episode, this one is just another creepy entity sort of short, but with a more modern technological twist to it. I'm not saying that this one is bad by any means. There are clear reasons why it has gained so much notoriety. The film is lit in a moody and dramatic style that strongly conveys the protagonist's emotional turmoil. Our protagonist is a man trapped within his grief, haunted by a memory of a loved one that he cannot shake, and soon will be haunted by something much worse. It plays out like a young man who is haunted by a memory of a lost love, a fear of forgetting her, and the guilt of trying to move on from her memory. The film places the figure of Alexia in the background, using the horrors he is experiencing on screen to distract him from the ones that lurk in the shadows. These are simple tricks to employ on the audience, but ones that work very effectively. The practical effects on display in this one are incredibly vivid and grotesque for such a small indie film. The performances are incredibly well portrayed and showcase both the pain of the loss of Alexia as well as the fear of her return. This is definitely one of those more classic ghost stories that have been carefully adapted to modern times. It plays on our attachment to computers, social networks, and other addictions to the virtual life. For me, it definitely seems, at the very least, inspired by Japanese horror, building on a mood more than reaching for jump scares and grotesqueries. I'm gonna give Alexia an A. I think if today's episode has reminded me of anything, it's that as filmmakers, we need to try to stray away from these same basic concepts more, and aim for something with a little more substance behind it. These creepy little entity-based films can be done more effectively. But since they keep being crafted by filmmakers with very limited means who just want to shoot something, it dries up the well very quickly. I'd honestly love to see more people branch out into different areas and deliver something more worthwhile. If you have something like that you think I might like, please send it my way. With that, we are going to bring this video to an end. If you enjoyed this one, I hope you stay tuned for more bite-sized reviews in the future. If you feel so inclined, please consider supporting ETF over on Patreon. I hope you all stay safe, and thank you for watching.